Let me tell you what I think should be going. That Terence Bud Crawford should move up 3 weight classes and 21 pounds to fight Canelo Alvarez for the super middleweight champion of the world. He's entirely too small. Entirely too small. Jamel Charlo already proved that. At 154, he went in the ring against Canelo, and he was entirely too small. But to get this out of the way, to get the very obvious out the way, in the sport of boxing, an elite trainer, nobody knows more boxing than this man. I love talking to him. I love doing television with him, Teddy Atlas, and he joins me right now. Teddy Atlas, what's going on, big time? How are you, sir? How's everything?
I like Crawford. I like Crawford then, I like him now. I liked him before Canelo looked not so good in his last fight, obviously. I thought it was going to be, I just think Crawford's real special. I think Canelo's really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. I see it. The timing, the instinct, the eyes, the ability to be chilly cold, not just cold and calm, but chilly cold, where you can see things other people don't see and react to it just.
In a world obsessed with boxing's biggest names, Teddy Atlas drops a bombshell by placing Terence Crawford above even Canelo Alvarez, stirring fierce debate. He challenges the conventional hierarchy, claiming Crawford possesses a rare, almost untouchable instinct that sets him apart from the rest, an edge that could redefine greatness in the sport. But Teddy doesn't hold back when it comes to Canelo. His words cut straight to the heart of the debate. He stated, "I'm speaking things to truth, of course, I'm not in his head. Of course, I'm not in the ring. Of course, I'm not in his body any, but he either got old, he doesn't care no more. Or, there's no fire, there's no urgency, or he's overrated." This raw honesty from Atlas shakes up the boxing world, questioning if Canelo's star is fading, or if he simply lost the hunger that once made him unstoppable. It's a brutal reality check that forces fans and critics alike to reconsider what drives a champion. Is it age, motivation, or just plain overestimation? Teddy's blunt assessment cuts through the hype and demands a deeper look at what greatness really means in the ring today. This isn't just commentary, it's a challenge to the status quo, and it's sparking fierce conversations everywhere. Roy Jones Jr. steps into the conversation with a perspective that highlights the unpredictability of a potential Crawford versus Canelo clash. He points out that the outcome hinges entirely on Canelo's mindset and strategy going into the fight.
It's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo come to the dance.
Roy's view cuts through the noise by focusing on the mental game. If Canelo fights confidently and aggressively, he has a real shot at beating Crawford. But if he underestimates the challenge or plays it safe, he risks losing to a fighter who's sharp, focused, and hungry. This makes the fight not just about talent, but about determination and willpower on fight night. It's a reminder that in boxing, every detail counts, and the man who controls the pace often controls the outcome. Roy Jones Jr. doesn't just analyze the fight, he offers a clear strategy for Crawford to take down Canelo. His advice zeroes in on a simple but powerful factor that could tip the scales in Crawford's favor. He stated, "We come in as big as he can get if you get to the weight limit, because there is a weight limit, and get to the weight limit." Roy highlights the importance of physical strength and presence in the ring by pushing Crawford to maximize his weight. It's about using every advantage possible to wear down Canelo and control the fight. This straightforward tactic could disrupt Canelo's rhythm and force him to fight on Crawford's terms. The plan reflects a deep understanding of how size and power play a crucial role in high-stakes matchups. Roy's insight makes it clear that success won't come from just skill alone. Crawford needs to be as imposing as possible to claim victory. Terence Crawford brings his own voice to the conversation, addressing the mental aspect of facing a fighter like Canelo Alvarez. He breaks down how he views the size and skill differences between them, showing confidence in his abilities.
So every time I see him, he'd come and be like, Canelo.
You're right. Yeah, you know how Billy do it too, yeah.
So every time, I'd be like, man, come on, man.
Yeah.
So every time he say that, you know, I just be like gradually getting into like looking at like, okay. And he's not that big. You know, he heavy, but he not that big.
Right.
You know, and I'm just like, all right. I'm laughing, but at the same time, it started hitting me like, all right, man, maybe he on to something. You know, and then I started sizing him up, and I'm like, all right, well, Canelo 5'7". You know, my arm's longer.
Yeah.
He's strong, I'm strong.
Right.
You know, it'd be, to me, skill for skill.
Right.
You know, because Canelo not the biggest 168 fighter. So I just started looking into it, and I'm like,
Crawford acknowledges that Canelo might have a physical edge, but he quickly shifts the focus to skill and mindset. He believes that skill can overcome size when combined with the right strategy and mental toughness. This shows Crawford's confidence not just in his physical preparation, but in his ability to outthink and outfight a bigger opponent. His approach reveals the careful mental game that separates champions from contenders. It's a reminder that boxing is as much about brains as it is about brawn. Crawford's calm and measured take sets the stage for a fight where every move and decision will be crucial. Teddy Atlas steps back into the discussion with a strong defense of Canelo's recent performance. He acknowledges the challenges Canelo faced, but insists that respect and understanding are due, even in a sport known for its harsh judgments. His words remind us that greatness isn't always instant. It sometimes takes time to adjust and prove oneself.
He was fighting a good fighter. He was fighting a guy that fought a very difficult style at that moment, and he was fighting at a weight class that was foreign to him, and we had to give him a minute. Nobody wants to give anyone a minute in this business. You're supposed to be great, you got to be great every minute. But I gave him a minute to kind of get his feet settled at a new weight class. And he still did what he had to do to win.
Atlas points out that Canelo was up against a tough opponent with a tricky style, and he was competing in a weight class that was unfamiliar to him. He argues that while boxing demands greatness every second, it's fair to give fighters a moment to find their footing when stepping into new territory. Despite these hurdles, Canelo managed to do what was necessary to secure the win. Teddy's perspective adds depth to the debate, emphasizing patience and respect for the journey fighters endure. It's a reminder that success in boxing is about adaptation and resilience, not just flawless execution from the start. This defense of Canelo balances the earlier critiques and keeps the conversation fierce and real. Teddy Atlas returns to praise Terence Crawford's undeniable greatness, digging deeper into what makes him a truly special fighter. He highlights the qualities that set Crawford apart from the rest of the pack.
I still see the greatness. The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, it's in his background, where he came from. That there's something about, just like a Sugar Ray Leonard had that something about him when he's a junkyard dog, when he has to be a junkyard dog. And with all the intangible gifts that I just touched on.
Atlas describes a unique fire within Crawford, something rooted in his background and character that fuels his drive and hunger. He compares that fierce spirit to legendary fighters, pointing out Crawford's ability to switch gears and become a relentless junkyard dog when the fight demands it. Beyond physical skill, it's these intangible qualities, heart, mentality, and resilience that make Crawford a standout. Teddy's words paint a picture of a fighter who carries greatness, not just in talent, but deep in his soul. This perspective forces everyone to recognize that Crawford's edge isn't just about what he does in the ring, but who he is at his core. Teddy Atlas continues to build his case for Crawford, emphasizing the well-known skills that make him a threat in any fight. He also points out the intangibles that give Crawford an edge beyond just speed and power.
Not just that the ones that we already know, that he has speed, he's got power. I know he's moving up in weight class, can he carry it? You know, but those intangibles, I believe that he has them. And like I said, when the fight was still first mentioned, I should say, I picked him. And now it's a little bit more fashionable. You know, it's a little bit, you know, more easier for people to say, oh yeah, I could see Crawford winning. And why? Well, Canelo's last performance real quick.
Atlas acknowledges the challenge Crawford faces moving up in weight, but he firmly believes Crawford can handle it because of his mental strength and unique qualities. He reminds everyone that he was an early supporter of Crawford, and now many others are starting to see the same potential. This shift is fueled by Canelo's recent performance. Teddy's confident analysis forces fans to rethink the matchup and gives Crawford the respect he deserves as a true contender ready to capitalize on any weakness. Teddy Atlas delivers a brutal assessment of Canelo's current state, questioning whether the fire that once fueled him is starting to fade. His words challenge the widespread admiration for Canelo and suggest a shift in the boxing landscape.
Point by point. But right now, I just give an overview of it. Canelo, he's either old man time, that undefeated guy, he finally caught up to him. He's old, he's slow, or here's another one. I already touched on, but I'll say it again. And you can get mad again. Or you can agree again. It's up to you, whatever. But he's made so much money that the urgency's not there. The fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. At least I say that. It wasn't there a week ago. Maybe it'll be there now. Maybe he's the kind of guy that, and I get it, that at this point in their career, it has to be a big fight to get up. That Canelo can't get up for these fights. He couldn't get up for that fight. All right, if you want to go down that road, go ahead. But my road is still possible. That he got old, that it just doesn't have that fire no more. Oh my God, I'm going to say this one. That maybe he's a little overrated.
Atlas lays out a harsh reality. Age might be catching up to Canelo, and his speed and urgency could be declining. He argues that the massive success and money Canelo has achieved might have dulled his competitive edge, leaving him less motivated than before. While he acknowledges that a big fight might reignite that fire, Teddy isn't convinced it's still burning strong. This stark critique forces fans to reconsider if Canelo is still the unstoppable force he once was, or if his peak has passed. Teddy's bold statements shake up the conversation, pushing the narrative beyond just skill and into the realm of heart and desire. Teddy Atlas doesn't stop at questioning Canelo's current form. He goes deeper, challenging the legend's record against top-level competition. His analysis pushes the conversation into uncomfortable territory, forcing fans to reconsider long-held beliefs.
And listen, I know he's tremendous. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? If you look at some of his biggest fights, the fights where you had to be great to win, that you fought great fighters or near great fighters, you know, you can make the argument that he lost the first Triple G. You know, he didn't embarrass himself, but he got a draw. Second one, you can make the argument he lost that. I know it was a different kind of fight, and he got better. But you can make that. You can make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You can make the argument he was too young in his career. Maybe, although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16. He was 23. He was already pro for how many years? For 8 years, 7 years.
Atlas lays out a series of tough fights where Canelo didn't clearly dominate, highlighting close calls and setbacks against elite opponents like Triple G, Lara, and Mayweather. He acknowledges Canelo's greatness, but suggests that in some of his biggest moments, he might have fallen short of greatness. This perspective cuts through the hype and asks whether Canelo has been slightly overrated throughout his career. Teddy's unfiltered critique demands a hard look at the true measure of a fighter's legacy. Beyond titles and money, it's about consistently beating the best when it matters most.
But then again, you can still make that argument. Okay, at the end of the day, I think I said this before people killed me, but I said it before was as easy to say as it is maybe now with Canelo coming off a bad night. I said that this reminds me, and it could be like Pacquiao when he fought De La Hoya. Pacquiao, everyone loved De La Hoya. You forget so fast. You guys got short memories. You forget how all of you said De La Hoya was going to kill him. They didn't know a lot about Pacquiao. It was his real coming out party, and he was too big for Pacquiao. He was going to kill him.
Atlas recalls the shock when Pacquiao upset De La Hoya, a fight many thought was impossible. He highlights how fans were certain De La Hoya's size and power would dominate, only to be proven wrong by Pacquiao's speed and skill. Teddy uses this to illustrate how Canelo's recent struggles might not be the end, but rather a turning point that could redefine his legacy. He warns that excuses about age or decline can be made too quickly, just as they were for De La Hoya back then. This comparison adds weight to the debate, emphasizing that in boxing, nothing is certain until the final bell. Teddy's insight pushes the narrative beyond criticism into a reminder that every fighter's story can still change. After laying out his detailed analysis, Teddy Atlas reaffirms his strong belief in Terence Crawford's abilities and future potential. Despite the ongoing debates and controversies, his confidence in Crawford remains unwavering and has only grown stronger.
The whole thing, and I picked Pacquiao every day, twice on Sunday. I said he's going to be too fast. He's going to be too quick. He's going to box circles around him. That's what he's going to do. Now, I know there's a caveat here. I know you could say, well, Pacquiao was dead at the weight. We didn't know that going in. I don't know if he was. Maybe he was. I don't know. But then you could say, well, maybe Canelo is old. If you're going to make that excuse for De La Hoya, did I say Pacquiao by accident?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Oscar. I'm
yeah,
with you.
I meant, I'm sorry. Of course, it wasn't Pacquiao dead at the weight. Oscar was dead at the weight. So people would say that. Okay, we didn't know it at the time. We still don't know for sure. Maybe that was part of it. But I'll go back. If you want to do that, I'll go back and say, okay, what are you going to be saying after this one? You might be saying Canelo was too old. Canelo got old. This, that, whatever. So at the end of the day, looking forward off of the last fight with Canelo, I like Crawford every bit as much as I did before that Canelo fight, and even more now. That's how much I like him.
Atlas makes it clear that based on everything he's seen, Crawford continues to stand out as a special fighter. The recent struggles of Canelo have only solidified Teddy's admiration for Crawford's talent and mental toughness. This statement sends a powerful message that Crawford is not just a contender, but someone Teddy believes can dominate the sport. It underscores how Crawford's skills and mindset make him a formidable force, capable of taking advantage of any weakness in his opponents. Teddy's conviction adds weight to the growing chorus of voices backing Crawford as the next big star in boxing. Shakur Stevenson also steps into the spotlight with a strong opinion on how his fellow fighter Bud matches up against Canelo. His confident prediction challenges the widely held respect for Canelo and adds fuel to the fire surrounding these top contenders.
I think Bud gonna cook Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
Advantage.
I think y'all make that something, in certain fights,
Boxing makes it something, not us.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would like apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's like physically kind of big, but like height wise, he's kind of small. So I don't think so, no.
Stevenson believes Bud has all the tools to dominate Canelo, emphasizing that while Canelo is a great fighter, he may be limited physically in certain ways. He points out that height and physicality could play a bigger role than many realize, giving Bud an edge in their potential matchup. His take cuts through the hype and brings a fresh perspective to the ongoing debate about who has the advantage. Stevenson's bold stance stirs excitement and anticipation, highlighting the intense competition at the top of the sport. His insight makes it clear that the battle for supremacy is far from settled and could go in favor of the younger, hungrier fighter. Even Rolly Romero doesn't hold back in his fiery take on Canelo, expressing frustration and openly rooting for Crawford to take him down. His bold words add another intense voice to the growing tension around this matchup.
Crawford beats the shit out of him.
Really? Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you like this, the weight division things, but I hope Crawford beats the shit out of him.
Why do you want to see Crawford beat the ish out of Canelo?
I just hope Crawford beats the shit out of him.
Why? Like, Canelo, dude, is it because of the last fight? Like you haven't been a fan of Canelo, or like why? Like, you like Crawford that much? Took your cut.
what Canelo did on that day was disrespectful to boxing. It was just simply disrespectful to boxing in every way.
Romero's outspoken criticism cuts straight to the core of what many are feeling: doubt about Canelo's current form and hunger. By throwing his support behind Crawford, he fuels the excitement and drama surrounding a potential fight between these two. His blunt and passionate stance shakes up the narrative, reminding everyone that the stakes are high and emotions are running hot. Romero's comments amplify the pressure on Canelo while spotlighting Crawford as a genuine threat. This raw energy keeps the conversation charged and the anticipation building for what could be one of the biggest showdowns in boxing. Antonio Gates joins the growing list of voices confidently backing Terence Crawford to come out on top against Canelo. His prediction adds more weight to the mounting belief that Crawford holds the key to shaking up boxing's current order.
Terence Crawford, Canelo.
Yeah, I believe Terence Crawford is going to be in top shape, and I believe he's good enough to outpoint Canelo, but I believe the power would be a challenge, if you will. So I'm gonna say Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford?
Because I think Terence Crawford is the best boxer in the world.
Gates points to Crawford's skill, heart, and adaptability as reasons why he believes Crawford will outshine Canelo in the ring. His perspective reinforces the idea that Crawford's combination of talent and mental toughness makes him a serious threat. This prediction contributes to the rising momentum behind Crawford's name and puts additional pressure on Canelo to prove his critics wrong. Gates' endorsement highlights how even outside the boxing world, experts see Crawford as the fighter to watch. The growing chorus of support for Crawford is making this potential matchup one of the most talked about events in combat sports. Bruce Carrington adds a sharp analysis of Bud's strengths and how his style could frustrate Canelo in the ring. His observations give a detailed look at the tactical battle that could unfold in this matchup.
Bud, man, he's strong though, dude, and he also has the capability of boxing and, you know, using the feet. I'm sure Bud took something from that Skull fight, because you see Canelo's getting frustrated from time to time. At times, like, he'll stop running after you, and then he'll just like step back to the middle of the ring and just like show some sort of frustration. And anybody that knows Canelo has problems with movers. He wants to just sit there and be able to hit you. And Bud is not going to be, you know, he's not going to give you that all the time. Granted, Bud is a fighter too now. He's a dog. But I can see him having something similar to a Victor Postol fight type of approach, where he's more on the back foot. And if he does that, it's going to be a long night for Canelo Alvarez.
Carrington points out Bud's combination of strength and boxing skills, highlighting his ability to use movement and footwork effectively. He notes that Canelo has struggled with fighters who constantly move and don't let him settle, which could work to Bud's advantage. The frustration Canelo showed in past fights against movers could be a sign of trouble if Bud employs a similar strategy. Carrington suggests Bud might adopt a patient, defensive approach, making it a long and challenging night for Canelo. This insight adds another layer to the debate, showing how styles and strategy will be just as important as raw talent in determining the outcome. Andre Ward steps into the conversation with high praise for Terence Crawford, calling him the most skilled fighter in boxing today. His endorsement carries weight, coming from one of the sport's all-time greats.
Who's the most skilled fighter today?
Bud is definitely one of them, for sure. Tyke Shakur, Devin, Boots
is my favorite.
It's a lot of them, and they skillful in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Somebody that, like, I can bet the house on is Bud, because me and him, we so much alike in our mentality. Like, soon as I see this dude, he come in the room or I come in the room, we start arguing about basketball, wrestling, anything, bro. Like, man, you can't, man, you looking small. What you mean I'm looking small? You looking small. You gotta really hurt that dude to turn him away and to try to stop him from doing what he want to do. So skillful, yes, but this and this, it's different, man. There's not a lot of guys like that out there currently. There's a lot of guys that talk it, but until you get in that real fire, I'm not saying a guy you fighting a guy you should beat. I'm saying a guy that it's a 50-50 matchup. We don't really know what you have. You don't even really know what you have.
Ward highlights Crawford's technical mastery, ring intelligence, and ability to adapt to any opponent as key reasons for his top-tier status. He points out that Crawford's combination of speed, power, and smarts sets him apart from the rest of the pack. This strong vote of confidence from Ward adds serious credibility to the growing belief that Crawford is not just a contender, but the current king of skill in the sport. His perspective fuels the excitement and respect surrounding Crawford, making the case that the boxing world should be watching him closely. Pro boxer Joseph Brown steps in with a level-headed take, calling the matchup between Crawford and Canelo a true 50-50 fight. His balanced view highlights just how evenly matched these two fighters are in today's landscape.
You got Bud Crawford and Canelo. They're slated to fight in September.
It's going to be an interesting fight. Honestly, it's kind of 50-50 in my opinion. Obviously, Canelo's got the weight and natural size advantage, but Bud's very technically skilled and sharp, so it's gonna be a good fight.
Brown emphasizes that both fighters bring unique strengths and styles, making the outcome unpredictable and exciting. He points out that skill, strategy, and fight night performance will all play critical roles in deciding the winner. This perspective adds nuance to the debate, reminding fans that despite all the hype and analysis, boxing remains unpredictable at its core. Brown's insight keeps the anticipation high, showing that this clash could go either way and promising a thrilling battle when they finally meet in the ring. Connor Ben weighs in on the 168-pound showdown, calling it a tough, evenly matched fight that could go either way. His blunt assessment underscores the challenge both fighters face in this high-stakes battle.
With Crawford going up, I believe he can put a beating on anybody 154, 160.
But not 68.
Nah, Benavidez is...
Canelo.
Canelo, I think he's a smart fighter. He doesn't rely on his power. Crawford ain't a fighter who just relies on his power. And then Canelo, you know, when he's fought Belenga, then fought Ryder, Munguia, it's even. I think it'd be a 50-50 fight if Crawford fought Canelo.
Both fighters bring unique strengths that could shape the outcome, making this one of the most unpredictable and thrilling matchups in recent memory. The fight promises to test every aspect of their game, from physical ability to mental resilience, leaving fans on the edge of their seats. What do you think? Who has the edge? Canelo's proven legacy or Crawford's rising dominance? Could Canelo still prove his critics wrong, or is Crawford ready to take the throne? How important is the mental game versus physical skill in deciding the winner? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and tune in for more videos like this.